Hello and welcome to What the Tech podcast with your hosts Rene, Essomba and Jorge, Veronique, where we break down what is going on in the tech world at the moment.
What's going on in the tech world? And as you probably know, AI is the main topic, so we definitely going to be talking about AI quite often. Also being
You're
an AI person.
You're an AI person or an AI engineer?
Well, I mean, AI engineer, data scientist, whatever you want to call it.
So basically everything that AI was before this big phase of AI came into play.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
We're actually going to have an episode where we will be talking about a bit more about who we are. So I'll be giving a bit more insight about, how I got into this AI space, because I've had a few people messaging me on, different social media platform, mostly LinkedIn, asking me,
okay,
how do you get into AI?
Yeah.
How do I get into it? And
well, we're going to get into it. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it, and then maybe they'll be able to get into it.
That's right. That's what
we're going to do, right?
That's right. Let's democratize this whole thing for people. Let's just make it more digestible, because everyone's just got this like phobia about AI, and with reasons. I mean,
at the end of the day, we've all seen the power of AI in the day-to-day lives, at least the tip of the iceberg of the ChatGPT boom at the beginning of last year. And now we're kind of seeing it progress over this year, which is when I've kind of really taken a keen interest in how it works, why it works, and when to use it, because I think there's a lot of misinformation out there, and a lot of people think that it is just magic. But as we both know, it is just computation.
Yeah.
And I think once you kind of see behind the veil, it's actually pretty complicated.
Speaking of AI, I kind of threw some of the, the concept of this podcast to ChatGPT, and this is what it says. Start with, for this episode, this is a hook that...
Oh, we're hooking. We're fishing.
A hook
we're just fishing for likes.
That ChatGPT came up with.
It glad we're straight to it.
I'm going to try, maybe Schwarzenegger. My Schwarzenegger impression is...
We'll get there. We'll get to that. Let's not use all the juice up in one go, right?
The world of AI never stops evolving. Today, we are diving into the latest breakthroughs and what they meant for you.
Okay. And then Arnold... did you ask Arnold to be the guy?
No, I mean, next time, maybe we can use one of those event labs, tools to kind of like have Schwarzenegger using, voice to
We'll get him involved.
To read.
Maybe not legally, but we'll get him involved.
No. We get the event labs voice of Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Then he'll be like, "What the fudge? What you guys are doing?" And then he might come to the episode.
Hey, trust me. Yeah, he'll come. He's got a great community going with his stuff at the moment. And I listen to his podcast daily. So
that's right.
He's a legend of the game. And now he's again an amazing podcast host. So
that's right.
He's a special guy.
Yeah.
But anyway, bring it back to this podcast.
Yes. So this is the pilot episode. It's gonna be a bit of like impro here and there. But at the end of the day, we all know where we're heading to.
And what we're trying to do here is really kind of cover off information that you may have missed in the past month or however long it takes for us to put these shows together. But at the end of the day, we are going to be covering as much as we can on the situation of the tech space at the moment.
Yeah.
Obviously, AI is the main aim, the main player in the game at the moment, just because of all the kind of investment in that space. Also mixed with the actual applications that will be revolutionized because of this new technology that we're slowly starting to come to terms with. Also its limitations and its potential.
That's right. Yeah.
For good and bad, which I think we need to be very careful of.
Yeah.
And as you and I have both been in this space for at least we're in September. So, I mean, I've been doing a lot of work in the space since the beginning of this year, since I got to Australia, and it's been extremely exciting and interesting. But I think the key is that we're moving into a time where, if you're not careful and we're not responsible with AI, we are going to see a big shift in the way the world. Well, I think we're going to see a big shift either way, but I think it's up to the business leaders and the people with those decisions to make sure that they're doing it responsibly, and making sure that there is a human in the loop, and kind of activating and kind of working with these AI systems in order for them to get the most out of their business operations. Because at the end of the day, we are going to see companies that are built with like 2 people and like maybe 100,000 AI agents and like no people, and they might be the first. There'll be billion-dollar companies or billion-pound companies doing that. But I think responsibly, like if you're making this kind of money and you have the opportunities to hire people that know what they're doing and to upskill your workforce, I think that's also very important as we move through this kind of time.
That is correct. And also it's worth mentioning that this whole craze started with ChatGPT becoming mainstream.
Yeah, so mainstream, viral.
So becoming viral. So, but what is worth mentioning is that ChatGPT was just an app. It was just an interface. Back end, it was an AI model, and these AI models have been around for a long time. So there's going to be an episode where we'll be talking about not the history of AI, but kind of like,
how we got to this point.
Taking out of like the, kind of like shifting the focus away from like the ChatGPT of this world, and then kind of seeing where exactly AI has been playing a big role for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
Right. So
100%.
Something simple as like, when you order your Uber, right? It's still, there's still some AI functionality in there, but it's been presented in a way that the app is, because it has to route the driver to you, and he has to find the quickest way for the driver to get from wherever he is to you, and then wherever you need to be from where you are. All of that is all using AI.
Yeah, and the cabbies in London aren't happy about that, are they?
It was presented in a way that people didn't really feel the interaction and the AI component of it.
They built like an experience, didn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, all of these apps that we're moving to start developing, or people are developing or have been developing for the past up to probably 15 years, I'd say, like the really high-powered apps, where they can provide like amazing experiences for people.
That's right.
Which is like, again, revolutionizing the way that we kind of interact with our smartphones and devices. So yeah, like as you said, Uber's a great example, and the way that they use AI in the system, in Uber's application to, again, I'm not 100% sure personally how exactly that works, because I haven't actually deep dived into it yet.
We'll deep dive into
this. Is what this guy is here for. He's going to do all of that for us at a later time. And these are the types of examples where we want to kind of explore a bit further, kind of peel back the layers and unveil like the kind of the nature of how AI features are being used in general software applications.
AI features, that's a key word there, because it used to be a feature. Now it's still a feature, but I think it's becoming, people are becoming more aware of it as as maybe like the like the next step, the next thing that will make your app from 0 to 100 quickly.
Well, it's just the back, because the features that these systems can do, and building agentic systems, and also like building features inside your application which you now can on the fly generate new content or bespoke or personalized content to the user is never there was ways to do it in the previous software engineering space, but it's never been easier as it is now, and will continue to be, for these systems to kind of create these new types of experiences, which again, like I said, we haven't really seen before.
Speaking of software engineering, you are from a project management background.
Yeah, software engineering and project management.
Exactly.
Again,
so
I've
you'll
been
be
in
able
this
to like
space for a long time. So it's kind of like as a project manager and previous software engineer, like we have to identify which technology to use for different applications, different projects, and by having another potential option, like AI agentic systems to basically go and fetch relevant contextual data for the purpose of your application is actually a really interesting topic, and I think that's something that we should definitely look to cover off as we progress this series.
Yeah. And then speaking of agentic, systems and things like that, that's another topic, that we need to discuss, because I think people need to understand the different flavors, of what can be done with AI, right? So you have your LLMs, we're not going to dive into that, but
yeah, just give us a brief overview.
There's going to be
an
episode.
Of what you think. What you think, like at the moment, like the way the world is right now, as AI, from being in your position as an AI engineer and working on these kind of systems where they are looking to implement AI features and do AI implementations for business optimization and process optimization and application development.
Yep.
Like, what's your take as of right now? Like, what are the main points that you see that have come out over the past, call it 3 to 6 months, like this year, at the turn of the year? What do you think are the main things that we've seen this year so far in the AI space that have been interesting to you?
Very good question. I think it's the space has evolved quite rapidly. It's crazy what the things that used to be, not so great before, but things that have kind of evolved quite a bit. When ChatGPT came out, it always used to be text-based. Now we have, OpenAI, for instance, that has introduced their model.
01, is it?
Oh no, so
4.0, yeah,
and then you have 01.
Yeah, that's so 01 has literally just been released this week. So everyone's still kind of coming to terms with how that's exactly working. There's only a couple of few kind of on the nose YouTubers that we're kind of seeing come out with some interesting content.
Yeah.
But at the moment, it's still very infant. And there's no way to programmatically access those that system as of right now. I mean, this could change by the time you see this podcast.
That's right. Yeah,
it moves so fast at the moment.
Change
so
every week.
It changes every day. So you got to keep up with it, and that's what we're going to aim to try and do.
Yeah. So going back to my statement. So obviously, when it all started, it was all text based, and then what you started seeing along the way is people starting to introduce images, videos. So now you have, when all ChatGPT, the GPT 4.0 model came out.
The Omni.
It had a bit of, it could process images.
Yep. So
image generation.
Images. You generate images.
Yeah.
You could do voice, text to voice.
Yeah, it could do text to voice. Yeah, and even the previous one, but then with the old model, it really, kind of made it even easier for people to kind of use images. So you could upload an image and then ask what is on that image, for instance, right? So it will be able to give you that output. It doesn't
basically just allowed you to do a combination of text, audio, image, and video. Generations. So again, I think from before that, if we just take it back a level, I think the first one that really caught everyone's attention was it GPT-2 or 2.5?
The 3.5, yeah.
3.5.
3.5
was the one that came. Was that the beginning?
That's the one. That's the one. Yeah, 2023. So that's the one that was the back end of the popular app ChatGPT.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what we've seen is a lot of companies taking that. Taking ChatGPT 3, was it
2.5? Yeah.
Was it 3.5 or 3? I can't remember.
It's 3.5, yeah.
So 3.5. Okay, so 3.5 was like the first one where it kind of got really interesting.
Yeah.
And people built applications where you could actually trigger API access to these models.
Yeah.
Again, like you've got the main cloud providers, obviously like AWS and Google Cloud and Microsoft.
And Microsoft, yeah.
I think Microsoft bought OpenAI for like 10 billion but it feels like ages ago now, but it's only like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And they've integrated that quite successfully. And all the big cloud providers are doing a lot of interesting work. Obviously with Google, with Gemini, AWS with Bedrock, and all of their kind of democratizing access to all of the different models, open source and proprietary. So they've all taken a very different approach to AI, which has been quite interesting to see. But what do you think? I think whilst we kind of have we could spend a long time kind of discussing these this space in general. I think we want to kind of like hone the series. So we're looking to do, I think the first 10 in studio ideas
sessions.
They're all going to be about various topics.
Topics. Yeah, we'll probably also get you the viewers and the listener of this app to suggest a few topics. We've got a few, but we think it's a community effort.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
we're just going to be
we're leading we're leading the charge in the conversation, but like by all means, like this is your conversation too, and therefore you please hit us up.
Yes.
On the YouTube channel, and what other socials do we have set up right now?
I mean,
it's all kind of going on, right?
the thing is, there's just like way too many social platforms. So, but obviously the main ones, right? So LinkedIn, YouTube, LinkedIn because we're both
on there,
professional.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, YouTube, Spotify.
Yeah. We'll have a
Google podcast.
We'll have a What the Tech kind of website kind of set up soon where you can join the community.
Yeah.
On that, and
maybe a Slack channel, or I don't know, how do you call that? The what's the other one? The blue one.
What, the school? No.
Discord.
Oh,
yeah, Discord channel.
There's so many social these days.
Yeah, so there's just a lot. The thing is, like, at the end of the day, what's important to understand is, all these different platforms. What's their purpose, right? YouTube obviously is for the video content.
Yeah. So we want to basically provide those kind of more in-depth deep dives. Yeah. Which we'll be doing sessions on. Rene and myself will both be taking on various topics to cover off like the online live sessions.
Yeah, and then all the audio will be, on the, your typical one, Spotify, YouTube Music. Because YouTube Music, I'm a big fan of YouTube Music.
Is
stopped.
It?
Yeah,
I've never used YouTube Music.
It's the
I've
best.
heard it's really good.
It's the best. It's the best. I mean, literally, like everything that you listen or you watch on YouTube
is available
in YouTube Music.
That's amazing. I need to go on it, but that's a paid version, right? You got to pay for that one, right?
Well, I think you can get away with the free version, but I'm not sure. Like
We'll get around to that one later.
Otherwise you just use VPN. And I never say that.
Don't use VPN. Yeah, it's against VPNs. I'm in Australia, so.
But we're talking about the news, not the news, but like the AI trajectory and the latest, the things that have changed this year, right?
I think what we're aiming to do, again, like the ideas that Rene and myself have on this podcast specifically, is that we want to cover off AI in the real world, like how it actually is being used, as we mentioned before in the Uber app, but also AI in your pocket. I think one of the episodes we want to do is about the smart revolution of smartphones.
Yeah, and how it can actually help everyday people, because being on LinkedIn, we essentially have this view that it sounds like it's AI only benefits the big players, the enterprises, but you still have the small and medium-sized business.
Yeah.
The people, the everyday people that essentially do not have they're not exposed to the potentials of AI.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially have this like, dark view of like Terminator type of like,
And to be fair, that's a very real threat. So
It is a real threat. However,
we're not going to we will take it seriously. But
however,
where we are currently versus where that situation kind of ends up.
I mean, it all depends on I think it all depends on the directions and where exactly because at the moment there's a lot of money poured into AI, and obviously if someone is putting money in, there's an outcome that they're looking for. Yeah. So the outcome is obviously to grow that, that investment, right? That money, that return on investment. So that means they kind of dictate exactly where they want to go.
I think though it's a bit
so
crazy,
that's a different topic. So I mean, not a different topic, but I feel like it's just going to be.
We're talking billions at the moment that's going into this AI space, and I
mean, recently, OpenAI just had a new round of investment, and essentially it sounds like they even trying to limit the number of people that, not limiting, but it's they have a lot more people wanting to invest into OpenAI than been before.
Yeah,
So,
well, I've just checked, and it's like they've expected to raise around 6.5 billion at $150 billion pre-money valuation, and they're also turning down billions of oversubscribed dollars.
exactly.
Which
Exactly.
is insane.
So now you see, like, most of the time what you see in the news is like the big enterprise.
Yeah, it's
but
the top of the iceberg, right?
yeah. But then you still have the everyday people, like, you know, the guys that are running their own businesses.
Running the small, medium businesses. There's like a lot of use cases for these individuals.
For these individuals that they can still benefit and make, and still, like, you know, kind of like taking their business operations
to the next level. 100%, exactly that.
Yeah.
So there are tools that you can actually use right now that can streamline your business and processes using AI systems that we will kind of cast a light on over the duration of the series, and again do some live demos on how that actually works online. So
speaking of which, because we have the podcast, obviously is us talking. Maybe we'll have a guest here and there coming in and out to come and talk to us.
They're going to come plug their applications and how they use AI.
Exactly.
And what you should use it to.
Or they're coming to tell us how they hate AI, and
maybe they've given up. Maybe they've moved to farming or something.
Yeah, exactly. But then also what we're going to have is in between there's going to be those online sessions where we actually get to play with lots of these tools.
And see this guy do some pretty serious demos. He's gonna get the little fingers busy on that keyboard. And,
so
do some cool stuff.
Well, I mean, here's the funny part, right? So I'm more of like the hands-on codes, hardcore. Let's get it done. Write all the scripts and stuff. This guy, on the other hand, he's a low code, no code. There's going to be a debate on that.
Yeah,
the low code,
I think this is going to be an underlying theme with this whole thing, is that, like, I believe that, like, if we can make it easier for more people to get what they need out of it, the more people are going to use it. Yeah. That's exactly why, like, I mean
the low code, no code, to be fair, we're still doing the same thing. We're still building apps, right?
The outcome is the same.
The outcome is the same,
but there's a little less control over the intricacies if you want to expand certain functionalities. But I think as new tools are uncovered and are developed, which we are seeing at the moment at like an exceptional rate, we're seeing some insane tools that are coming out, which we're going to speak about more later on in the series.
That's right, yeah. So there's definitely going to be an episode on low code.
We're just going to say, like, we're just going to list about 100 tools, and then we'll get around to about 10 of them, and then you're going to tell us which tools that you want to hear about, and then maybe we'll cover them too. If not, there's probably some other guy out there who's gonna be able to break it down for you. So and we'll again welcome all the conversations and all the kind of criticisms that you can come up with in order.
We might even have an episode on just discussing this approach of like low code, no code versus
and the applications that where you use low code, no code, because there are quite a few of them and more coming out. And also the tools available to purely code your applications, and like there's like a new terminology that I've heard recently, which is like a software composer. Which is like, instead of a software developer, where like everyone needs to, you need to be really strong with your languages.
Software composer.
It's a composer.
Composer.
I know.
Geez, what the?
I guess
they're trying to make it attractive.
Yeah, there's a nugget in there as well, because the composer is quite a powerful tool these days. For depending on what tools you're actually using.
But you know what? I'm. It's like, it's quite funny how just a slight change in words can make a huge difference. So when you say composer, it gets your attention. You just want to dive into it. You're like, man, I want to see that tool. Yeah, it's a composer.
Well, everyone can compose something that suits them, and you don't need to be a
Mozart. It's like
end up being someone. Even might be the guy busking on the street composing some nice music. But at the end of the day, like, everyone's got the opportunity, and as we know with the rise in this space, is that the main purpose I see is being able to empower most people in the world to make their kind of ideas, bring their ideas and kind of dreams to fruition. And by being interested in this specific space, you'll be able to uncover a lot of kind of move the pin a lot on your ideas. So I think there's never been a better time to really think about what you want to do in this world, and make strides to actually achieve it, because it's like as you said at the beginning of the podcast, like it's being democratized across the board, and the playing field is being leveled, which at this moment in time is a very interesting and exciting place to be. But as we all know, the big boys will get involved at some point and start throwing their weight around and ruining it for everyone. So let's try and enjoy it while we can.
And also, what's worth mentioning is that we're actually real humans. We are not AI entities. Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. I've heard things though. People are like kind of uploading their likeness into into their AIs, and like basically, I've seen chatbots where people literally upload all of their content, all of their information they've ever written or ever done, and like the AI can basically just respond as them. And I'm like, as them. It is pretty impressive.
Well, who knows? Maybe what the tech is. It's gonna be here for the next 100 years. Yeah, maybe because once we're gone, we just now it's our AI entities are just
they'll be carrying the conversation.
They will carry the conversation about AI.
We'll be in that capsule in the Millennium Falcon, like flying across the universe.
Yeah, that's funny. So anyway, so there's we've covered quite a fair bit.
The first, obviously, this. I think if we want to set up the series, what we're going to be looking to cover, at least at this point in time, we're just going to kind of reel off like kind of episodes that we've got in mind. So we mentioned before, we've got the AI in your pocket, the smart revolution of the smartphones. We're going to have AI in entertainment. How algorithms are shaping what you watch and listen to.
Yep.
And how are they? Yeah. I mean, for me personally, how AI curates content for platforms. That everyone's signed up to.
Just on that, not just on that one.
Yeah,
I think also it's worth, because people talk about AI, but there's generative AI. So maybe I think that's probably going to be,
and that's
one episode that we need to.
Yeah, that's specifically like as you mentioned that like AI and generative AI. Like I think. The differences in this all underneath the AI bubble, but there are like a few different levels to the game. So just quickly, like what are the 4 levels of the AI? Because you got artificial intelligence, you got generative AI, you then got deep learning, and then you've got, what was the last one? It always evades me.
Isn't it the way around?
It might be, yeah. I think it's one of the other way
it's like Anyway. Textbook stuff.
It's textbook stuff, which I haven't read. I'm gonna get my.
I haven't read it.
Out.
Well, I read that a long time ago. I forgot about it.
I was actually reading the material like this week, but I've had a stressful week, so I've literally forgotten it.
You forgot it. Yeah.
I'm gonna go review my material for the AI practitioner exam from AWS. So,
actually, we might have an episode on
certifications, whether they're any good.
Are they any good? Yes, and which one you should go for.
I mean,
if you really want to get into technology and more specifically AI.
Oh, and obviously the benefits of having a certification, because at the end of the day, this is a very competitive space.
Yep.
It's especially at the moment with the way that. All the big tech companies have had a lot of kind of layoffs over the past couple of years, so it's extremely competitive. And there's these certifications and the pathways into the space. If you are just beginning, they are available to anyone, and it's about we're going to kind of shed some light on those different paths and the different certifications that you can do in order to get to where you want to be and differentiate yourself from the competitors.
Yeah, I'm more familiar with the AWS routes and different paths.
I think me too. I think I've
looked at Microsoft, we'll have to do a bit. We'll have to do some research with the other ones.
Yeah, I mean,
and I've seen also other certifications in other bodies.
Mm-hmm. It comes down to if you're interested in the space, you're gonna put the time in. You're gonna learn what you need to learn in order to be able to be an expert in that field.
Yeah,
and the more you learn, the more opportunities you'll end up having.
But I think
and being able to have conversations like on an intellectual level with people that you're interested in working with, because I think that is also very important.
Yeah, we actually have an episode on AI in education. Yeah, so maybe we might touch on that, or it's more of a professional conversation. Maybe it's going to be in a different space.
We got the AI job market as well, so that leads on quite nicely to the AI job market episode that we're going to be looking to cover off.
Yeah,
how automation is changing work.
I'll see if I can invite a few. I've got a few mates who are in the recruitment space, so It will be good to
see how they.
No, it'll be good to have maybe one of them to come.
100%
to come for that
be,
for this for that
all of these
episode.
kind of episodes that we're looking to do, we'll try and bring in a guest that's got like.
And if you have a
amazing
guest,
experience.
like we said, if you have a guest, feel free to pop their name up and we'll slide into their DM. Slide into their DM.
Cruising into your DM.
Yes.
In order to get some juice out of you. So I think with the AI job market again, it kind of lent nicely from the certification side of it to how the AI job market is currently and the roles that are being created as a result.
Speaking of education, I feel really bad for the new graduates.
The new what? Sorry.
The graduates, the out of university.
Oh,
because
the new graduates. Yeah.
It's that's when we're going to get to that AI education, we'll flesh it out. But essentially, what I think it's going to get harder and harder for them to. Because if you think about it, all these AI tools, kind of like
empower more companies to
to like kind of. So you have to be more of like so if you're an experienced professional, you can kind of get away.
Yeah.
But if you're very junior, if they have an AI automation that does the job, why would they hire a junior?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's exactly where it comes to like responsible AI at the end of the day. It's because like it's up to the business leaders to make sure that they are providing opportunities for people to learn this technology and to be able to understand it. And
But I think also like those graduates out of university, it forces them to become more entrepreneurs.
That's again, So we're gonna have a big. I mean, I think the whole space again, as we kind of want to say, is the thing that we're trying to lead to is that like you can potentially, as I was saying earlier about your ideas and bringing them to life, like it will enable people to bring these ideas to life a lot easier.
A lot easier, yeah. Entrepreneurship has become, I think, the way to go, especially if you go into those, especially when you go to those hackathon and those AI events. What you tend to see is it's either they're super young, so they literally out of university,
people that are
or you see those like senior managers that are like super bored with their job and they're looking for like they're looking for something interesting to do.
Well, they want to like again like kind of be involved with because the energy you get at those events is amazing. Like there's everyone kind of there looking to innovate, create something special within the time frame that they've got, and there's a lot of people and a lot of accelerators and a lot of people looking to bring these ideas to life now. So it's a very, like I said, innovative time if you want it to be. But again, I think it does the space in general it's that's a whole new wave.
And actually how we got to really collab and really starting to become partners or business partners was through a hackathon.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk, which is going to be the episode where we talk about who we are and how we got to know each other and how it all happened.
Both can't read invitations.
That's right.
Right. So then we got so another episode that we're going to look to get into this series is do AI ethics. Who's responsible when machines go wrong?
Yeah.
And again, these are all kind of big topics in order to make sure that
another big speaking
big
of
topics on ethics, really. Just like
speaking of ethics, even like the whole cybersecurity side of things, which is quite prominent. It's a very hot topic. So combining AI and cybersecurity, it's a big explosion. So you might have a guest,
an
speaker
or
someone coming in to
and
come
how
and
AI is using it. Because I mean, you've got the big firms like Darktrace and a couple of other big guys, that the security firms that have been kind of using AI in their in identifying threats and preventing threats as well. And again, these types of AI systems that have been leveraged for that specific use case is actually is very powerful. And I think once you kind of hear about how that works in more detail from the experts, again, it will start to kind of you'll be able to see behind the curtain a little bit more, and it'll make a lot more sense. So those are the types of things as well that it is quite a interesting topic, or quite a powerful topic. Cybersecurity,
it is.
Especially with the references to Terminator in this conversation, because it's very real potential. Especially, I mean, you've seen some of the robots that are coming out at the moment. Like China's like put together some new robot which looks insane, and it's like $16,000, and I'm like, all right, well, there's the dishes done.
16,000 just to get the dishes
the dishes done. I mean, to be fair, like, you know, they're the type of things that people want done. Like they want the dishes done.
But then where you can see, and which is another episode that we're going to have, AI in healthcare. So how do you call that? The prosthetics, the
biomechanics.
Yeah. So how you amputated, you know, part of your body can be replaced with, like a robotic
arms. Robotics is massive, and like, I'm not quite sure, but so, again, we'll cover all of those kind of like in more detail, and those are like really interesting topics for me personally, and for you, just because like, you know, people, you know, lose limbs all the time and have to go through tough stuff.
That's right. And I think another topic, I don't think it's listed there, but I really want to see if we can get an episode or two on it, which is AI in sports.
AI in sports, yeah. Well, I'm 100% behind that, because you know, you're a very, very fit guy. Do a lot of training.
Yes, let's just say the protein shakes have been super helpful.
Also, like, you know, because I think there's two things with that whole like AI in sports, that you've got AI in sports for the sports, for the sports people, how they use it to optimize their training and health and diets and everything, and then you have AI from the spectator. So you have like how we as spectators for a sport are going to see how, you know, AI can improve the
audience experience. I mean, the NBA has been experimenting with that. I mean, that's the reason why they have. I think the NBA has a partnership with Microsoft. I think.
Is it Microsoft?
Yeah, I think so.
So again, I'm going to show my bias at the moment.
We'll double check that, but
I just know AWS has got loads of stuff, isn't it? They've got the F1, they've got like the NFL Thursday Night Football information on that, and then a couple of other. I think PGA Tour have now signed a deal with AWS to do some AI and machine learning type setup with them to be able to do some sort of prediction on their players. So
and in that space, we actually also know a few people from that AI entrepreneurship bubble, with people doing some interesting things in sports and AI.
Space, sports tech.
So that's definitely something that we could we definitely could cover
in an episode,
because that's also linked to health, you know. So 100%. how and you were talking about, you know, when we say sports, we're talking about more for like from an athlete perspective. So now you also have the everyday people, you know, the personal trainers that potentially could benefit from using AI.
Or just technology in general, right?
Just
technology in general. I mean, we've all got wearables. You've got watch. I've got a watch. Like these things track
a few things.
A lot of information that people aren't really getting the most out of. I mean, it's always good to see how many steps I've done, but I mean, at the end of the day, like I want to know like a bit more than that. So I think you're going to see a lot more interesting insights from these wearables, and there's so many now. You've got some really big players in the market on that side of it, and I think again, because this is a tech podcast, I think those types of that type of technology, like the wearables and the devices that we are kind of incorporating into our daily lives and have been incorporating for the better half of 20 years now, since the iPod and like MP3 players of back in the day. I mean, it's a long way we've come in 20 years.
So there's that, and then obviously the online sessions where we're going to be a bit more hands-on. We don't have a list yet of tools that we're going to use, but essentially there's going to be a mixture of low-code, no-code tools, and also hands-on coding tools. Probably they're going to be semi, intermediate to advanced. We're not going to do too much of like beginner stuff, but obviously the steps
to get the setup in order to get to the
so that obviously in those sessions we're going to cover that, and then you get to see our face in action and our keyboards,
and also, you know, all of these kind of wearables and new technology. I mean, it's hard. We wanted to do it together, this podcast, because it's hard for one person to keep up with everything. So 2 people is better than 1. But like, obviously, we need the help of the community and people that are also in the space to give us the kind of the holistic view of what's going on in the tech world. So I think it's important to make sure that this is an open conversation.
Yeah.
And if you see something that looks really cool or is really cool, then let us know, and we'll do our best to have a look at it and cover it off in conversation.
So should we call it a day?
Paradox of AI and climate change. Well, the fact that all of this computation is very energy hungry, and therefore, it's very energy hungry, isn't it? This stuff.
These, I mean, there's a few things that are people discussing about using alternative energy.
Yeah, we've had this problem for since blockchain kind of technology, because that's all very.
When blockchain came.
Yeah, that's all very intensive as well. So I think, this whole energy problem, I guess you'd call it. The fact that the humans consume so much more energy than they have year on year, and with the kind of chips that Nvidia are putting out, they are very intensive. And I think as the leading chip maker, I'm going to obviously use Nvidia as the example. It's just a bit crazy, isn't it? So it's just I think what AI can be good for is forecasting load and provisioning, potentially providing an overview of how it is affecting the world. From an energy standpoint, but again, we won't know for sure for a long time. So
there's just
difficult, isn't it?
There's a lot of topics to talk about, and I think that's the reason why this podcast has been set up. What the Tech is the name, and there's we feel like there's just too much to cover.
There's a lot to cover, and we're going to try and do our best in it. But
and then it's good that you have two hosts of this podcast from different backgrounds. Different, we bring the diversity.
100%, and we want to be able to, have these kind of conversations in a way that is open and no one knows everything, and especially now with the way that things are progressing so fast. It's all about kind of working together in order to be able to have these conversations to make sure that everyone's kind of kept up to speed with what's happening, because there's more content being produced than ever before. A lot of it's fake content, AI generated content, and it's okay, what are we gonna do? Yeah,
sounds good. So cool. I think with that we've said enough.
I think the last thing we should introduce is the as part of the episodes that we want to cover off, the future of AI and predicting the next big breakthroughs. I think that's also one of the big topics that we need to cover. And then again, as we mentioned previously,
I think that episode should be we should have that episode every 6 months.
Every 6 months, well,
because
we'll be in the future. Well, technically, this is the future of yesterday. So
yes. So
And the last thing is obviously the human AI collaboration, enhancing creativity and productivity in everyday lives. So I think that kind of covers off what we want to do with the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm Jorge, Veronique,
and I'm Rene. Essomba.
And this is What the Tech podcast.
It was What the Tech podcast. Thank you, my friend. Let's do more of this.